needed a job, and Guardian took a chance on me. I've never looked back, and I hope that they haven't either. I've been fortunate to have been surrounded by a group of passionate people that have poured their talent and knowledge into me, and for that I'll be forever grateful. Today I work with about 800 of our customers and 5 of our distribution branches to set up and maintain lines of credit that they use to purchase building materials for their lumber yards and job-related projects in their communities.
Awesome. Thank you, Courtney. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Ellen. Thanks for setting this up. So I've had maybe slightly more conventional go about in my career, although unexpected. So I have a degree in architecture and civil engineering and knew I didn't want to do design in either one, and ended up falling into a career of building enclosure consulting. So I started with failure investigation of enclosure assemblies, which includes roofs and waterproofing and facades as well, and did that for about 10 years. And then I needed to be a little bit more present at home with my young kids, and so I took a job with a general contractor and ended up doing a little bit more business development, which I had absolutely no background formal training in, and then relocated and took a job as a construction defect litigation specialist. And so took all of my knowledge over the past 15 years and focused on litigation cases, and then had an opportunity to come over to Intertech and manage the Northeast for our building sciences practice. So it's been going on about 20 years now, and my professional committees have been being the chair of ASTM D822, which focuses on roofing and waterproofing, and board member of Women in Construction, and most recently and most excitingly, the educational chair for National Women in Roofing.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Right before we get started, I'm just going to say that it is so exciting. So I can scroll through the list of attendees and see all your names here. And oh my gosh, it is so exciting to have you here with us. And I'm just going to pretend that all 60 of us are just sitting around my tiny little office hanging out and chatting and listening to Courtney and Jennifer. So Courtney, why don't you get us started?
All right, so first I just wanted to go through the agenda and the things that we'll be covering today. So why you should consider a career in the roofing industry, career options and opportunities for women in roofing. We'll look at some case studies of women that are already involved in the industry. We'll determine how you can find a job in the roofing industry. Once you're already there, how you can grow within the industry, some helpful resources, and then we'll finish up with Q&A. So what's so great about the roofing industry anyways? This is one of the most stable industries that I could ever think of. There are currently about 83 million millennials who are or will be searching for homes. In their lifetime, the average person buys 3 homes. There are about 134 million housing units currently in the U.S., and on average, a roof will need to be replaced every 20 years. So with that being said, our industry is expected to experience a tremendous amount of growth. In 2016, commercial spending was projected up 7.4% versus prior year. And in 2017, growth in commercial construction was projected up amongst all sectors for the next 12 to 18 months. So obviously there are tons of opportunities. This industry has every challenge and benefit that any other industry would have, coupled with the fact that our workforce is aging. There's no better time to get in and learn all that you can. And I'd like to issue a challenge to everyone out there. The next time you're at an industry event, Look around. You may be the youngest person in the crowd. Now's the time to learn all you can from the people who have made this industry what it is. Or perhaps you're on the other end of the spectrum and are like one of the sales guys that I get to work with. He's counting down the days until retirement with an app on his phone. Find someone that you can mentor and start teaching them all the things that you can and all the things that you had to learn the hard way. Leave the industry knowing that it's going to be in good hands. So I have a quote from Kenesha Thompson, who's actually on the webinar with me today. She's an inventory replenisher at Guardian. And, you know, speaking on the opportunity within the industry, cities are always growing across the U.S. She's optimistic about the future of the industry because there will always be a need for housing and new developments for these expansions. And then going back to what I said earlier, there's a great sense of community in women who already work in the industry, and they're willing to mentor you. All you have to do is ask. All right, so now let's look at some career options and opportunities for women in roofing. The possibilities are endless. There's estimators, project managers, architects, consultants, specifiers, customer service, logistics, purchasing, marketing, sales, human resources, inventory management, finance, insurance, publication, editors, publishers, writers, government and policymakers, and science and research. So we've got a little insight from Thea Dudley, who is the VP of Financial Services at SRS Distribution. She says, when I came into the industry, I just needed a job. I worked hard in the role that I had and looked for opportunities, volunteered to take on projects and tasks that others didn't want or thought was beneath them. When whatever company I was working for was looking for someone to promote, my name always came up because everyone knew it and knew I would get the job done, whether I was experienced at it or not. So as you can see, there's so many options if we just think beyond the roof. And now we'll look at some case studies for women that are already involved in the industry and see you know, what they're doing and how they got to where they are. So first, Abby Brown. She's a marketing manager, and marketing managers are typically involved in planning, implementing, executing marketing plans and programs within an organization in order to attract potential customers and retain existing ones. This is most often a manager of people position, and Abby's been in the industry for 7.5 years. She does have a bachelor's degree in marketing, and if she could give a piece of advice for someone looking to enter the industry, it would be to find a product and a company that you really, truly can stand behind. No company is perfect, so you'll need to believe in what you do. Next is Jennifer Hayes, and she's an office manager. Typically, an office manager would be the one to maintain office operations, procedures, payroll, filing, AR, AP, supply chain, and clerical functions. So as you can see, this person's kind of the lifeblood within a small business. Jennifer's been in the industry for 9 years, and she's held various positions, including warranty, creative services, HR, and payroll. And she also has a bachelor's degree. If she could provide one piece of advice, it would be to learn all you can about products and assemblies. Products are improving and systems are getting stronger. The industry is constantly evolving. Thea Dudley is VP of Financial Services. Typically, that role would oversee all of the credit functions for a company's distribution branches, which would include managing a team of credit managers. Thea's been in the industry for 30 years, and her favorite thing about this industry is the people. You meet all types and gain experience in ways you never imagined. And then last, I have a special guest with me, Kenesha Thompson. She is our inventory replenishment manager, and this is pretty much the backbone of our distribution company. She works with our suppliers to make sure all of our branches have the products that they need when they need them to be able to sell them to our customers. So it's Kanisha.
Thanks, Courtney. Like Thea, when I started in the industry 17 years ago, I just needed a job. So I've started out and have worked various positions, including customer service, procurement purchasing for residential and commercial products for our wholesale distribution nationwide. And today I manage the team of replenishment purchasers who are responsible for going out to our suppliers on a daily basis and making sure that we have inventory in stock to sell and meet our customers' demands. My favorite thing I think about being in the roofing industry is learning about the products and how they work together to complete a structure. I also enjoy the interaction I have with people. I'm working from a replenishment standpoint, not only with our suppliers, but I also need to work with marketing. I also have to work with sales. I also have to sometimes be in communication with our credit managers. So, you know, the opportunity is broad. The advice that I would leave you guys is to think beyond the roof. You know, whatever your skills are, think about how you can apply it to roofing. Roofing is so much more than just roof installation, so don't limit yourself to that. Always be teachable and seekers of knowledge, and you'll go far.
Thanks, Kanisha. And then at this time, I'll turn it over to Jennifer, and she will take us through the remaining portion of the presentation and the rest of the case studies. Jennifer?
Thanks, Courtney. So I have a few more case studies to go through, and the first one is Tanya Brown Dimianto, and she is the lead research engineer and director of Hale Research. And we were actually able to get a couple audio recordings from these women, so you'll get to hear from them in their own words.
Doing research related to roofing probably for about 9 years, particularly on specific roofing materials for about the last 5 or 6. My position requires a PhD in meteorology or engineering. I also have background in the bachelor's and master's level, but really somebody who has a focus on hazard and its impacts on buildings. One of the things that I think has worked out best for me and some of my colleagues is a multidisciplinary background, so being able to understand from a couple of different aspects, the engineering, the meteorological, sometimes the economics. I think all of those things often tie together to make somebody really effective in this particular industry. Another thing that really has been great is some practical experience, some field experience, being able to really get your hands on. Those things together really help make somebody very good in this industry.
Jennifer, how did that come through?
It came through fairly well. There was some minor beeping in the background. I don't know if that was coincidental or not.
Okay,
but
all right, just checking.
Yes, okay.
All right, carry on.
Next, we have Michelle Boykin, who is the Vice President of Service at her roofing company.
For 8 years. My degree is in accounting, but when I graduated from college, I decided that really wasn't the path I wanted to take. I started out in property management, and then I took an office manager position with a roofing company that was looking for someone with my background. My advice for somebody looking to enter the roofing industry is just to jump in. I think as women, we tend to discount ourselves. In the roofing industry, women can be huge assets to a typically all-male workforce. There are many opportunities we as women miss out on by not believing in ourselves. The one thing I love about working in the roofing industry is the hectic, crazy days. Being largely service, when it rains, our phones ring off the hook. I love being able to be the go-to company for a client with an emergency.
And we also have Heather Estes, who, in addition to being on our education committee, is also a materials scientist and has a focus in roofing and asphalt.
I've been working on projects related to the roofing industry for 5 years, and I have more than 10 years of experience with analytical and asphalt chemistry. I have a bachelor's of science, and I'm going to get my master's in chemistry. The best advice that I could give someone is don't be afraid to network and ask questions. Getting to know people within the industry can create some amazing opportunities. I love asphalt. It's one of the most interesting materials to work with, and everyone uses some form of it every day. Being able to teach others about the properties of asphalt and improving roofing materials is great.
Well, thank you, ladies. If we go to the next slide, there's these last 4 cases. And these women are relatively newer to the industry. So Kathy Creighton is a purchasing manager. So she is overseeing all of the material that they are purchasing for her construction company. And she has only been in the industry about a year. Her background was in management, purchasing, planning, and inventory control. So she was able to take that from a different industry and bring that over into roofing and find a good home here. So the favorite thing about her job is being able to streamline processes and bring improvements to the purchasing function and making things more efficient while learning about the different materials we use and researching alternative suppliers and or materials to try and drive cost savings and improve the profitability of the company. Her favorite thing about her job is being able to, I'm sorry, it's my bad. Lorna Menendez is also on the Education Committee for National Women in Roofing, and she is a field recruitment specialist. So she's newer to the roofing industry, but has been able to take her passion for engaging women in technical careers and getting them placements and opportunities in jobs. So she's been doing this in the roofing industry for about 8 months. She has a master's degree in human resource development and adult education. And her favorite thing about the industry so far is the learning experience has just been amazing, and her ability to learn from a great team. Lorna is very active with different career days and introducing young women into the roofing industry and connecting them with people through networking events. Lacrista Martinez is an apprentice roofer, so she's learning the physical trade of roofing and up on the roof every day. She's been doing this for about a year, and she has been continuing to learn and grow. Her next step would be to be a roofer, and from there she would love to be a foreman or a forewoman, which would be great to have more of them in the field. The advice that Lacrista leaves for us is that it's hard work. The long days are spent in extreme heat and cold, and you really need to be able to take criticism. She works harder to prove that she deserves to be there as much as the men do. And she has to watch and learn as much as possible and encourages you to always ask questions if you're unsure. Sarah Casper is the Director of Health and Safety. And while she's a veteran in the construction industry, she's been here about 20 years, she's new to roofing. She's just been working in the roofing segment for about 2 years. And talk about a non-traditional career path. She was a nursing major and focused with spinal cord injuries and realized that she wanted her focus to be in prevention versus dealing with the traumatic injuries. She says, I want to care for others and impact as many people as we can. I choose to influence others to recognize the risks they are in and make decisions that will allow them to go home safely. The advice that Sarah gives is that this is a great environment if you're looking for one that is fast-paced with passionate people. When you're around passionate people, it only makes your desire to succeed that much greater. So moving on to how do you find a job in the roofing industry? So we have, obviously, National Women in Roofing is a great resource to connect with women in the field and figure out opportunities that are open and available to you. We also have a lot of typical job sites like I Hire Construction, Careers in Construction, Construction Job Search, the internet searches such as Monster and Career Builder and Indeed. Some more maybe focused opportunities are with the company websites. If you look at manufacturers, contractors, architecture and consulting firms, research locations, and see what is available there. But reaching out to folks possibly through LinkedIn or through networking events and industry events such as National Women in Roofing, and having those folks provide introductions or introduce you to opportunities is probably the best way, and I find personal introductions to be the most successful and really the best fit for what you're looking for. Other opportunities include industry publications and their websites, schools and universities, organizational events, and any kind of networking that you can get involved with within the industry is only going to benefit you. So how do we grow in the industry? So we can subscribe to publications, newsletters, industry news updates. This includes National Women in Roofing, Roofers Coffee Shop. This includes RCI, any of the organizations that are publishing data to help us out. Connecting on sites in LinkedIn and connecting with people in LinkedIn, using that as a platform to become an industry expert and finding those niche areas to become an expert in and share that information. Attending conferences and trade shows, and that's both for your own personal growth technically and in other ways, and also through networking. Joining local and national organizations, continued education through courses and webinars. Finding a mentor, either becoming a mentor or a mentee. And Courtney had mentioned that there's plenty of women in an industry that would be willing to mentor you. You just need to ask. And I realize that can be a really difficult ask if it's your first time or if it's somebody you don't know well. And the education committee our next webinar is going to be on mentoring, and we will walk you through those steps and how you can make that come to fruition and how you can be successful in those asks. We also have the mentoring committee for National Women in Roofing is also putting on a session at the Western States Roofing Contractors Association convention, which is next month in June. So on Sunday, June 11th, they will have a session from 3 to 4:30 p.m. on successful career path case studies for women in roofing. So these are all really great opportunities. And lastly, becoming an industry expert and a resource for speaking engagements. There are so many niches within our industry, and to really set yourself as a leader in these emerging areas of knowledge and technology. So like Thea had said earlier on in the presentation, don't be afraid to raise your hand and take on the challenging tasks within the organization, and be willing to take a risk and put in some extra work and figure out how to master some of these new areas within the industry. Abby Brown is a marketing manager for Engineered Systems, and she leaves us with a little piece of advice. Networking for me comes in the form of the industry events that we attend and the near dozen events that we host each year. So really making sure that when you're attending these events, conferences, trade shows, courses, that you're taking the opportunity not only to walk away learning something, but to walk away knowing at least 3 new people and expanding your network. Excuse me, some helpful resources for women within the roofing industry are university and technical colleges. There's a whole list of industry associations and local chapters and councils that are focused on the roofing industry. And we've listed a handful of them here, everything from National Women in Roofing to Roofers Coffee Shop, NRCA, RCI, which is more consultant focused, CSI, which is more specifier focused. And then we have a whole slew of roofing specific magazines, and then we get into specific roofing technologies like the single ply roofing industry and the Asphalt Roofing Manufacturers Association. And then we have the insurance institutes and American National Standard Institute and ASTM and National Association of Women in Construction, which is a little bit broader, but really will help you connect with other women within our industry. All of these organizations also have conferences and trade shows that are worth participating in, and there are so many people in the industry, you just really need to connect with them, and LinkedIn is a really great way to see that 7 degrees of separation. If you're interested in meeting somebody, chances are you know somebody who knows them. So Kenesha Thompson, who is on the line with us, leaves us with one final piece of advice, and says that product knowledge and knowing industry standards are key to success regardless of the position you hold. You'll be able to better buy, pitch better, sell better, and provide better service and installation. And Thea's final words for us are, networking for me comes from the professional organizations that I'm a member of, including the National Association of Credit Managers, National Lumber and Building Materials Dealers, and of course, National Women in Roofing. As I attend as many industry events as I can, I make it a challenge to myself to have a conversation with at least 5 people I didn't know when I came to the event. Too many of us make the mistake of herding up with our coworkers. I already know them, and that's not why I'm here. So they're definitely your comfort zone, but the whole point of networking is to really get outside of your comfort zone and make sure that you get to know more people. So the next event you walk into, there are more familiar faces.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks.
Before we go into questions, I want to just touch base on a couple other points about National Women in Roofing. I mentioned at the top of the call that we are retiring our designation of founding sponsors and founding members on May 31st. We are so appreciative of those people that have been with us since the beginning that really made an investment in this association when we were just getting started. Everyone who joins by May 31st will be designated into perpetuity as a founding member. They will receive a limited edition lapel pin to wear at industry events and conferences, or, you know, just for fun. And also a limited edition logo to use in their email signature line. Founding sponsors are also going to be closing on May 31st. And they also will have a special logo that designates them as a founding sponsor. I want to give a thank you to our presenters today from the National Women in Roofing Education Committee, Courtney Bynum and Jennifer Keegan. And I also want to thank our founding sponsors. These are our founding sponsors as of April 15th. We actually have a couple more in the works. And these are companies that really stuck their neck out for us. They showed their support. They invested in this association. They provide the funding for the association along with your membership dollars. And this is really something to be proud of for these companies that believed in the empowerment and the inclusion of women in the roofing industry. We have time for questions. We've had a couple questions that have come in. So I'm going, and you on your screen, there should be a little, like a widget thing on the right-hand side. And so you can type in your questions and they will come to me and I will read them out to either Courtney or Jennifer. So the first question I'm going to toss to Courtney, and that is, there is a theme of moving up in the same company. How do you know when, I think the questioner is referring to the case studies, that many of the women in the case studies have moved up within the same company. How do you know when to stick out a job that isn't great in the hopes that you'll be able to move up? And then how do you know when to cut your losses and leave? So Courtney, can you take a stab at that?
Yeah, sure. So for this one, the advice that I could offer would be that this would be where a mentor would come in really handy or would be invaluable. If you can find someone in your company who is already doing what you want to do, or you know, if there's a leader within your company and you really admire their leadership style or their leadership qualities, I would say seek them out and get as close to them as you possibly can. Ask them for opportunities, ask them questions, let them teach you, and you know, reevaluate the situation then and see if there's a possibility for you to be able to move up. If not, then I would say that's when you kind of cut your losses and seek out another company that would value your unique skill sets.
Yeah, thank you, Courtney. There's also a question that has come in about the imposter syndrome. This is a syndrome where women think that they are faking how much they know and how competent they are, and they worry that everybody else knows that they're faking it. But actually, they are doing a great job and they're just doubting themselves. It's like a natural self-doubt type of thing. How do you deal with that? If you have this imposter syndrome, or you worry that you're faking it and everybody knows, how do you deal with that, Courtney?
So,
and I'll ask Anisha if she wants to chime in too.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. She would probably be more adept at answering this question than I could, because she's more involved with the product knowledge and dealing with people that actually use our roofing products and in our branches than I am. I just have to determine whether or not they can pay for it. So Kanisha?
So I use that feeling of being less than or incompetent as a motivator for me to go out and learn more. But to answer the question specifically, I think the best thing to do is just be confident in what you do know and speak with confidence that the information you're providing is valuable and that the people don't really know. More often than not, I found that to be the case, that people really don't know as much as you think they do. So as long as you are trying to learn each day more and more about what it is you're doing, more and more about roofing, then you get up there and speak with confidence, and you'll find that you really are doing a great job and that you're sharing information with somebody that they didn't know before, and they'll be able to take and grow and learn from you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kanisha. Jennifer, I'm going to toss one to you in a second, but there's a couple others that came in that I want to touch on. There's a question about when is National Women in Roofing going to have job listings on their website. We are thinking that that's going to be ready to launch in the next year or so. We're probably not going to have it ready in the next 3 months, but that is absolutely part of our plan, and we want to get there. And then we also have a commenter, Abby Brown, thanks for chiming in, who said that Lean In, written by Sheryl Sandberg, has really helped her confidence in working in this industry. Thanks, Abby. And then I want to go to a question from Michelle Boykin, who you heard earlier and is a vice president at Rackley Roofing, and Rackley is also one of our founding sponsors. And so Michelle says, what is the advice for companies on how to recruit more women to work on the roof? And I'll give a brief answer about what I've heard other people say, and then Courtney and Jennifer ask y'all to chime in. What I have heard people, we talk about this a lot at our conventions and trade shows, and I think one of the issues is encouraging women to see the dependability as an employee with a roofing company, and to some extent the consistency that comes in working with a well-established company, and that that is appealing to women to know that they have something definite, and also the rate of pay compared to some of the other jobs out there for roofing contracting companies can be desirable to some women. Jennifer or Courtney, do you have anything to add to that about how companies can recruit more women to work on the roof?
I mean, this is Courtney. I guess the thing that I would offer is that people are going to know people are going to go where they know that they're wanted and they know that they're valued. And so, speak to women, target them in advertising or job ads, find their motivator, and make it worth their while. Let them know that, if they want to be able to move up and be a forewoman or have other opportunities, that the company's willing to take a chance on them, just like Guardian took a chance on me.
Thank you. That's true. I want to jump to a, go ahead, Jennifer.
All right, the only other thing I'd add that I've heard other contractors talk about is it's so helpful to have another woman who's already in that position, because they can see that she's been able to garner the respect to have that position on the roof, and that she's been able to grab a hold of the respect of the men that are the male crews that are on that roof, and that the company supports her in that role. And it might be hard to get that first woman in there, but like Courtney said, if you reach out to her and show her the value that she can bring to that team, and the values that I've heard are improved communication and coordination, and they are more efficient on the roof, because there's not so much goofing off when there's a woman on there to make sure that we're communicating well and getting things done. So really highlighting the value that woman is going to bring onto the crew, and that's a critical piece of the team.
Thank you, Jennifer. Rhonda Sellers has chimed in and to remind us that CSI, which is the Construction Specifications Institute, let me see if I can, there we go, spotlight. Yeah, CSI, the Construction Specifications Institute, is open to everyone in our design and construction industry and offers both education and networking opportunities. And I would add that for many of the other associations on our list. I started working for another roofing-related trade association 8 years ago, and the education offered by NRCA and RCI really gives you a nice base foundation of much of the terminology and how a roofing system and a roofing assembly goes together. So thank you for that reminder, Rhonda. see. Oh, here's one. So Jennifer, if you'll think about this, there's a theme of women in the case studies moving into jobs that they didn't have any formal training or experience for. The slide on how to grow in the industry was helpful, but can you expand upon how you seek out other experiences within your own company? And I would also add, how do you seek out other experiences within your industry? And Jennifer, maybe you could touch on your involvement with ASTM and use that as an example.
Sure. So within my company, I am constantly volunteering to take on tasks and even bringing them to the table for discussion as I am involved in various activities, whether it be project specific or dealing with clients, or whether it's collections or it's an internal process. I'm always looking for efficiencies and how we could be doing this job better, and what are the roadblocks that the other folks are stumbling over, and how can I clear them to make their job easier. And so I find that what I bring to the table at most of our meetings is identifying areas where we can make improvements. And I come with a proposed solution or a proposed effort or initiative to dig a little bit deeper to understand why we're struggling in this capacity and come up with a resolution. And how do we motivate people better, and how do we improve employee retention? And so I'm always looking for all different avenues that we can make ourselves better, and I'm not afraid to take on that challenge and say, I'll lead that up, and let me go talk to some people, and I'll get back with you with some suggestions. Within the industry, my involvement with ASTM started pretty young in my career, and I had an opportunity to work with a more seasoned colleague doing some research. We kept finding the same failure mechanism in the field, and we said, well, let's try and understand why this is happening, and let's do a little experiment to see if we can recreate it. And by doing that, that turned into a whole research effort, which turned into presentation opportunities, which turned into how do we fix this problem in the industry, which led us to ASTM. And what started with this young girl sitting in the back of the room with 40 other bald-headed white men, I'm now running that committee. And that was because I was not afraid to take a seat at the table and have grown-up conversations with these men. And I love that somebody put this imposter syndrome, they put a name to it. I feel like I fight that every day, and I feel I have that internal self-doubt. And I really need to, I just check it at the door when I go in for a meeting. I take that big, deep breath, that Superman stance, and I breathe in all that confidence, and I leave all my self-doubt at the door. And I go into that meeting and say, I have earned the right to sit here, and I actually bring value to this discussion. And I do a lot of very heavy active listening, and I try and reiterate what I've heard people say to make sure I properly understand it, and I bring value to those discussions. And by participating in that capacity has really brought me up. So I went from sitting in the back of the room at the first meeting to sitting at the table at the next meeting, and then eventually into the secretary, and then the co-chair and the chair, and now I sit on the executive board 15 years later. I don't know if that's a good thing or not yet, but it's certainly given me a lot of visibility within the industry and an opportunity to make a difference.
Thank you, Jennifer. I like how that all started with volunteering. So we have a question from Christine Mockenhaupt in New Jersey. Christine is with Allied Building Products. Allied is also one of our founding sponsors, and Christine was the local event coordinator at the NERCA meeting, which is the Northeast Roofing Contractors Association in New Jersey in March. Hi, Christine. So her question is, how would you best respond to naysayers the value of our organization as it's still in the early stages? I'm sure that Heidi Ellsworth is jumping out of her seat right now. So I hope I give the answer that she would give. And I would say we don't have to respond. Our record stands on itself. We have tremendous support among sponsors. We have a widespread, diverse participation of members. We literally have people joining every single day. We are doing some fantastic things. We've had a tremendous presence at every major roofing-related industry event over the past year. We've gotten our 501c approval status. I don't really think that we need to respond to naysayers. I think many people are scared of things that are new, and many people are scared of change, and that's okay. That's fine to be scared, but I don't think that we really have to necessarily respond to them. I believe that what we're doing and what we're planning to do stands on its own. And Heidi just also said that she would be happy to speak with them if they would like to speak with her. That's awesome. So another question came in about how do I volunteer at FRSA in June? And Dawn, I am so glad that you asked. So let me pull that up. I've got a screen capture here of our website. Okay, there it is. So over here, wait, let me move that. There it is. Over here on this part of our website, there is a little tab that says volunteer. And if you click on that volunteer tab, so on your screen, it's on the screenshot on the right-hand side of the page. If you click on that volunteer tab, it'll take you to a form, and you can just check if you're interested in starting a council or if you're interested in helping out at a conference that's in your area. Click there, and then what I do is about 2 to 3 weeks before each conference, I run a list of everyone that is checked that they're interested in helping out, and who, for the regional conferences, roughly whoever is, most likely in the state, most likely to attend. I send that list to the local event coordinator for FRSA, that's Diana King. And so I'll send her that list, and then she'll reach out to you to schedule yourself for helping at the reception or helping out with staffing the booth. It is really, really fun to staff the booth at these industry events. In addition to doing sort of regular stuff that you do at your booth at an expo or a trade show, our booth also serves as sort of a gathering place for women to stop by and say hi and share their stories with each other. And it's just a really positive, uplifting experience. Let's see. All right, we've got one coming in. Oh, and how can I join? Yes. How can you join National Women in Roofing? So as I mentioned, we're retiring founding members on May 31st, and so we'd love to get you in before then so that you can have that special designation. But that is also on our website, and at the top of the page, there's a membership button, and you click there, and that takes you to the form for membership. It's pretty easy. Our membership is only $60 a year, and it's a great value, and we would love to have you join us. So I want to say thank you again to Courtney Bynum and Jennifer Keegan for joining us. That was fantastic. Thank you, ladies, for your work in putting this together and presenting. And also another thank you to our founding sponsors for supporting the work of the association and webinars such as this. And I should also mention that Jennifer Keegan works for Intertech, which is also one of our founding sponsors, and so we're doubly appreciative of her support. And Jennifer and Courtney, do you want to say a quick goodbye to everyone?
This has been really great. Thank you for all the participation and the questions. And I really am looking forward to our next webinar, which is going to be focused on mentorship. But as the part of the educational committee, we are very interested in hearing from you and what topics you're interested in hearing about, and if there's a venue that you'd like to participate in as well. So if you would be willing to log on to our website and send us a message with your questions or your suggestions, we are very interested in hearing from you.
I would just add to that. I'm sorry. I would just add to that. Thanks everyone for your participation and your questions, and I look forward to continuing to learn and grow with each of you and in the industry.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next time. Let's see, what else do we have coming up? We're going to be sending out our May newsletter in a couple weeks, and we hope to see you at Western States or at Florida. And if not, we hope to see you on our next webinar. And if you're not a member already, please join. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye now.